What if I told you if you could hold the image of what you wanted in your mind, then you could hold it in your hand? And you may be thinking, well, I'm not very good at visualizing, or that just seems like airy-fairy, or maybe you can't grasp your mind around how visualization even works. In this video, we're gonna break down the secrets to visualization so that you can feel and live in your dream even before it shows up in the physical reality. Sounds interesting, right? I'm Jake Ducey from jakeducey.com. Hold on to your seatbelts. You probably don't have one though, since you're sitting in front of a computer or a phone. We're gonna dive into something that will change your life forever. And if you look at the greatest achievers of all time, they've all been able to visualize. That's what a visionary is. It's someone who can successfully live from their inner vision. So I'm gonna teach you how to do this in this video. Thanks for watching. Number one, monster under your bed. So you may be thinking, well, how does visualization work? Or this sounds airy-fairy, or maybe you just aren't really the type of person, the type of personality that's able to see pictures in your mind. You might be more of a word person or something like that. So I always use the analogy of the monster under your bed. So remember when you were little and you thought there was monsters underneath your bed and you went screaming for your mom or your dad or your guardian or your brother or your sister, whoever it is that was taking care of you, and you were like, there's a monster under my bed, there's a monster under my bed. And then the guardian or whomever it is comes running into the room, and it's the second or third time it's happened just in the last week or two, so they're a little frustrated because they know there's not a monster under the bed and they're trying to get some sleep, damn it, but you keep yelling for monsters. So they look under the bed with you. You relax. What was happening? You saw an image in your mind, and your subconscious mind and your nervous system didn't know the difference and does not know the difference between what's real and what's not real. It just, whatever idea you get emotionally involved with and hold in your mind, it creates it as your own reality. Hence, why your hands were sweaty, your heart was beating, you couldn't sleep no matter how hard you tried, your breath was shallow. You were living a reality that wasn't even true. You thought there was a monster under your bed because you used unconscious negative visualization to create that for yourself, but it wasn't actually happening. That's wild, isn't it? Maybe before you've thought there was a robber in your house. Or maybe if you're anything like me, one of the first times that I was left home alone, I called the police because I thought that there was a robber in my house, and I was standing with a baseball bat by the front door and I was ready to defend for my life. What was happening? I was freaked out. My hands were sweaty. My heart was beating. I was having a physiological reaction to an idea, to an image that I was holding in my mind, and it was not even real, but I thought it was real. And most people are living their whole lives like that. Instead of the monster under their bed, they're living in a visualization, a false idea that they're not good enough, that they're too fat, that they're too ugly, that because what they see in their bank account right now, though it may not be much, controls the rest of their life, because I can't make much money, or they look at their report cards and we hold these negative ideas. There's no good guys, there's no good women, there's no new job opportunities. We hold these silly ideas unconsciously in our mind and we live out those things as realities even though they're not true. It's just like the monster under your bed. What's happening? Every thought you think has a chemical reaction that sends electrical impulses through your nervous system. That energy that's in motion is called emotions. Emotions, energy and motion. And then we assume this reality, the monster, the robber, the I'm not good enough, and we imagine these things unconsciously and they control our whole lives. So my question to you is, if you can do that negatively, and maybe before that's happened to you, and then it turned out it wasn't true, so you were just laughing at yourself. Maybe you thought that like your boyfriend or your girlfriend was cheating on you, or you were gonna get fired, or there was someone in your house, and you seriously were living for a week like it was true, but it wasn't. But you were imagining it. It brought you to tears, like tears of joy maybe before when you've imagined something, or maybe very, very scary tears, imagining some worst case scenario that happened to a loved one. Maybe you imagined that they got killed in a car accident because you hadn't heard from them in 3 hours, so you were freaking out, and you were living this reality, seeing them on the ground, and you're trying to call them and they're in the hospital, but it wasn't actually real. That's how your mind works. It's an image maker. And whatever images, the monster under the bed or the other terrible stories we tell ourselves about our life and our world that control all of our life, that's what creates our life. So if you understand how to hijack your own mind back from your old conditioned patterns and the ways that we're programmed socially and environmentally and through our past experiences by our culture, if we're able to take our mind back and use it positively, everything changes. This is the secret that they've known for ages. This is the same secret that Steve Jobs used, that Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he had no electricity and lived in a little hut out in Europe, would actually use these visualization things. You hear Oprah saying it. You see it all across history, that many of the greatest achievers from any industry, whether it's entertainment or whether it's humanitarian or business, they use visualization to create what they wanted in their lives. And when you learn, like I'm going to invite you to consider in this video, when you learn how to take control of your mind like that, you can create anything that you want in life. But the first step is understanding, just like the monster under your bed, you're always visualizing. Number two, your mind works in images. I just watched the new All Eyes on Me Tupac movie, and in the movie, he's just got his very first opportunity to be part of a band and to be on tour, and he was just a backup singer. He did a couple lines when the guy was coming in to rhyme. You know, he was not a big part of it. And after one of the shows, what happens is he's actually one of the cleanup guys. So he's got to clean up the microphone and put all the cords back in the box and do all that type of work. So he's out there and he's standing on the stage. Everyone is long gone. There's one other equipment guy on the stage with him. No one's in the audience. And he's going to grab the last microphone off the stand. And he walks over to it and he looks at it. And he's going to take it off. But instead, he holds it there. And you see in his imagination, he goes to this place where he can hear the audience going, Tupac, 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 and he's lost. He cannot see this reality anymore. He's moved into a different reality and he's living it out. Tupac, and he hears himself rhyming and rapping over the beat in the audience with their hands up, screaming, and he's in this moment. He's dancing, he's moving the crowd forward. And then he flashes back into the reality that he's currently in, pulls the microphone off the stand, puts it back in the bag, and it's gone. But you see, that's the first foreshadow that he had, that your mind works in images, and the images you dominantly hold now will create your future. For instance, if I say, think of your car right now, think of your car, tell me about your car, think of it. What happens? When I immediately say, think of your car, or think of your refrigerator, or pink elephant. I want you to think of a pink elephant right now. Think of a pink elephant. You see the image of it. The image of it. So that's how your mind works. It works in images. So you can see Tupac holding this image of himself, even though his physical reality told him otherwise. It's called the reality distortion field. If you've read Steve Jobs' autobiography, the creator of Apple, what you hear in it is that all of his employees referred to this part of Steve Jobs called his reality distortion field. So it was this part of him where he didn't care what reality said. He was going to distort it. He was going to bend it. He was only going to accept certain facts or ideas or block out all information if it was not in alignment with his inner vision. That's somebody that we call a visionary. Why? Because he lives from his vision. He's using the image-making power of his own mind to create what he wants because he understands that the mind works in images and everything that's real in your life right now. Look at your bank account. Look at your occupation and your profession. Look at your health and fitness and physical well-being. Look at the relationships you have in your life. Romantic, friendships, family. What is it all like? What is the amount of adventure and excitement in your life? All of that was determined by images that you've held. Now, they might be unconscious images. You have a subconscious mind that controls 65,000 thoughts in a day. 95% of them are unconscious, coming from your subconscious mind. So you might have maybe been programmed negatively around money by your family or by your culture. You might have seen some awful things growing up or had some bad failures. And so those images unconsciously are controlling our lives. And what I invite you to do is the same way Tupac stood up there. The room was empty and he imagined it. Have you ever before imagined something for better or worse that wasn't true? And you kept focusing on it, so you evoked the feeling of it in your nervous system. You experienced this thing that was not true, but by experiencing it in your imagination, you made it real for yourself. That's what you can do. I imagined myself for years as an author on stages, and I was 19, I was a college dropout. Every publisher was denying me. I was having no progress. Flash forward a few years, I'm on the TEDx stages in front of thousands of people. I'm on Vans Warped Tour, thousands of people. We did 30 high schools a couple years ago, 2,000 kids like per day when we're out there in front of tens of thousands of people. I saw it all in my mind first. And that's what I'm inviting you to do, is see it in your mind and ask yourself, how would you feel if this thing was already a reality? Will Smith says, this is already a reality. I'm just waiting for y'all to see it. I already know that it's done. And that's the state of consciousness you have to be able to start to hold. There was a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger by a writer that worked for a different fitness magazine. And it was a recorded interview, and the guy saying that what he thought was so interesting about Arnold was that as soon as he moved to America, before anyone really knew who he was at this interview. And the guy asked Arnold, he said, what are your plans? And he said, I'm going to be one of the most famous action actors in the entire world, and I'm going to be somebody who puts bodybuilding on the map all across the world. And the guy was like, what? Because every part of his physical senses said something else. So here's what I invite you to do. It's a meditation. It's a contemplation. To close your eyes and start to imagine, regularly imagining what it is that you want to create, and see how it feels. Start to live in that, because every thought has a chemical reaction. That chemical reaction creates a feeling in your body, just like the monster under your bed. You held the image of that scary monster under your bed, and you could see that it was gonna get you, and you could see the image of it. And so slowly you evoke the feeling of it. Now, if you understand that your mind works in images, you can start to hold and imagine a new reality. Everything that will be real in your future is determined by what you imagine now. 3, you can imagine what you want just as much as you can imagine what you don't want. See, there are women, right? That's a perfect analogy. By women, there are no good guys. There are no good guys. And maybe you've even heard a woman before joke where they say, well, I'm gonna turn lesbian because there's no good guys out there. And they make this joke about it. And it's like everyone gets a laugh out of it and they get attention or what have you. But what's actually happening is that they're unconsciously assuming a reality that there are no good guys out there. So what are they gonna see? They're gonna see no good guys out there because they've already seen the image of that in their mind that they've lived out as if it was true. Now you hear people say that about the economy, even though there was 9 billionaire families that were created during the Great Depression. They became billionaire families during the Great Depression, and then you hear people argue all the time about how because of the economy or because of the politicians or because of their report cards or because of their lack of social connections that they can't create what they want. Have you noticed that all of that is simply imagining something and making it real? It doesn't even matter if it's real or not. You're gonna live it out as if it's real every single solitary time, no matter what, because when you hold the image, what's happening is immediately you have that chemical reaction in your brain. It activates certain cells of recognition in your brain. It controls how you feel in your nervous system, and you start to live that reality out. So you see people slowly start to settle in their life. Why? Because they've already had the image of their biggest fears and they're living them out, not knowing that all they're doing is rationalizing themselves out of everything that they want in life. So what happens is you have the image of there are no good guys out there, of your past tax returns that didn't have much money. So it makes no logical sense how you could double your income in the next 12 months. And why even set a goal like that in the first place? Because have you seen my tax returns the last 4 years? I mean, have you seen my paychecks? I don't even have enough for my bills. And you're telling me I can double my income. Okay, yeah, right. right? And we do that for all the areas of our life. Same thing with friendships and relationships and mentorships and connections and new career opportunities. We imagine all of these things and they're not real, and we live them out as if they're true. So you can either be imagining what you want or don't want. And most of it is happening unconsciously. Now that's why I take a piece of paper and I wrote 4 or 5 sentences about what I wanted my life to be. I wrote it in the present tense. When I was a 19-year-old college dropout and I wanted to be writing books and all these things, and then all the stories came into my head. I imagined myself as being too young. My hair was long. Maybe I should cut my hair and then people will listen to me. Maybe I need to be able to get a degree and learn how to write first. Well, I don't really have anyone watching my videos or that are following me on Facebook. And it's all these things that then control our future. So I took out a pen and I wrote on a pen that I'm an internationally recognized author, seminar leader, coach, and online trainer inspiring millions of people with an internationally profitable business. And I would read that every single day, numerous times a day. And what happens is, as I get emotionally involved with that story, as opposed to the other story, I slowly am able to open myself up to it more. Slowly but surely, it's repetition of any idea that starts to make it your reality. So the key is to live in a wish, in a dream, and embody it so much so that you know that you can create it. Now that doesn't mean that your old programming is not going to come back in, that you're going to get really scared, because the brain's primary purpose is protect and preserve. So it wants to rationalize you out of a bigger goal. Not because it doesn't want you to live big. The reason that happens is because it wants to keep you safe. So it makes no logical sense to double your income, to meet that new person, to be able to create your dream home, or to finally have enough money for a year of freedom to travel the world or to retire. But remember, Steve Jobs' reality distortion field. That you can imagine what you want or what you don't want. And it starts with taking a pen and writing your vision and starting to read that every day. Starting to deliberately take some time to withdraw from the physical world, to imagine, to see this different reality that's contrary to the reality that you see with your physical eyes. And you see, that's what a visionary is. They've taken the time to see their inner vision. They're making it real in their imagination. They're turning a fantasy into an idea, into a reality. And then when they open their eyes, they see a different reality than the one that's in their mind, but they don't accept the outer one. That's the reality distortion field. You can start imagining what you want or don't want. It's up to you. So in this video, you learned how visualization works, the secrets of it, and how to slowly but surely start to reject your past results, because that's all they are. They are the results that you used to have based off of the previous things that you would imagine and think, but you just didn't know that you could actually put on Steve Jobs' reality distortion field and reject the outer world. You didn't understand that your brain and your mind works in images. And now you can deliberately start to form new images in your mind. And slowly but surely, the result is you're going to start embodying that. You're going to start to, when you make it a consistent practice, to start to create a different state. Because remember, anything you imagine, whether it's real or not real, like the monster under your bed, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have a chemical reaction to that idea if you hold it emotionally inside of you, which will create your emotional state. Your emotional state is gonna create the actions that you do or do not take, i.e. you screaming for your mama or your daddy because you think there's a monster under your bed, or you think there's a robber in your house and you're standing with a baseball bat. What's happening? Thought or an image that you hold, that you held for a while, then it created how you feel, which created how you act. So when you believe that you can't double your income, that there's no good guys out there, you create an emotional state that controls how you act. And if it controls how you act, it's gonna control the results that you get in your life. So start right now to withdraw from the physical world, to pull out a pen, to write your vision, to start reading that every single day, to start carrying that with you, and you'll see the secrets of visualization reveal themselves to you slowly but surely, but amazingly. This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. comment in your favorite part. I've got a free success hypnosis that anyone can use to start to reprogram their subconscious mind for more success in life. It's actually on the video below. You can download it immediately for free. It'll totally change your subconscious programming. It'll be absolutely amazing. You can subscribe below, and I hope that you do, because I want to see you on the next video. So comment in your favorite part. Thanks for watching. I'm Jake Ducey from jakeducey.com, and if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.